Got the live Fram Cam on board with Alex Martin as we get ready for our first 250 Moto of the day here at the Red Bull Tennessee National. We'll show you what Muddy Creek, the host track for this race, looks like via the Kawasaki track map, right?
Yep, point of view, go up the hill, make that left, hopefully you get the whole shot, and that motorsport.com little cash bonus. Little off-camera section here. This is where we saw where Justin Barsha went down when the track's a little bit slick. Make a right-hander over the Lucas Oil finish line jump, turn past the control tower. Nice little rhythm section here with some jumps and some rollers, get your weight back over the Red Bull jump. Now you start going downhill, and this is actually a little more off-camber than it appears, especially into this turn. Very easy to lose the wheels from underneath you. Make this sharp right, and then of course hard on the throttle for these guys all the way up this hill, especially on a 250. Everything you've got to get over this massive Fly Racing triple step up, sharp U-turn, and then drop off to this pretty severe drop off, and it also goes into another off-camber. Then it's important, get your drive, get over this jump, soak it up, and then for these guys, everything they've got, they're able to double this, but they're landing on top, not getting all the way over like the 450 guys. Then this part of the track gets a little tighter, a little more rutted, a little more rollers. You got the rights, left. This is at the top part of the track again. Go over the Bud Light jump, make a left, drop back down this hill. And this track's going to get rougher and rougher as the day goes on, especially section like these where you come down, you're bottoming out, and the wheels are just creating big ruts. Down past where they'll pass, where the Fram Mechanics area will be, which is behind the start. Make a right, jump back up the start straight. And that's a lap here at Muddy Creek.
Let's show you what it looks like to ride it. As the riders, they're just taking their sight lap. They're basically seeing what we saw as they look at the track right now. But here's what it looks like at speed. The GoPro Hero 4Cam, Adam Cincerillo taking us around from earlier today.
Yep, this is that last part of the track we're talking about. You see the few jumps going up the hill on the brakes. See the ruts aren't that bad. This was from qualifying with Cincerillo on a fast lap here, trying to get a good qualifying time in. Over the Bud Light jump at the top, back on the brakes. You see the braking bumps already forming, drop back down. Not a ton of elevation, but a lot of little drop-offs and rises on this track. Very kind of unique. Same thing, back on the brakes, turn. See the mechanics on the side there, waving the pit board, trying to fire their riders up. Another little drop into this turn. See Cincerillo choosing to go around it, launch up on the start straight. I'm thinking this today might be a breakout ride for Cincerillo. He's been showing us some potential. And I got to imagine, I think today might be the day. I definitely think we're going to see him on the podium.
Well, finally made that podium last week. Now trying to take steps into maybe second or first. Let's see if he can do it after this. Listen up, motocross fans. We have something special for you. We know you live for the sport. And thanks for all your passion. Lucas Oil, Mav TV, and Kawasaki are going to give you a chance to win something amazing. A brand new 2016 Kawasaki KX of your choice. Go to facebook.com/LucasOil or facebook.com/MavTV to enter, or text LiveMX to 313131. And that is that brand new 2016 Kawasaki KX 450F. They just debuted that thing this week, completely redesigned motorcycle, and that could be yours. If you win, we're back here at Muddy Creek at the Red Bull Tennessee National. Let's send it to Georgia Lindsay at the GoPro starting gate.
Yes, talking about the Monster Energy Kawasaki Pro Circuit bike of Joey Savacci, the 37. Now, he had an injury at the end of Supercross in Vegas, and since then, he's not actually been able to ride during the week. Most of these guys practice 2 or 3 times a week, and yet he has not been able to do that. So every race he's coming into, there is no routine, there is no regulation. He literally comes to the track and he races. He's got a chance to get a few starts in during the week, but that's about it. So for Joey Savacci to come out here and qualify second today and have already made it on the podium, there is definitely going to be more in the tank for that guy once he's able to start practicing during the week.
Had a couple of Moto podiums this year, Savacci, but trying to get it done for the overall. So he was the second fastest today, your fastest and Bud Light Fast Qualifier winner. No surprise, your points leader and defending champion, Jeremy Martin. So well done for him. Now, what do you need to do to really succeed on this track? Well, Grant can talk about it.
Yep. I'll give you the KTM keys to the Moto.
Alex Martin's got our live Fram helmet cam. This is going to be cool. Nicely done. We'll see how he does with this Fram cam. Nicoletti certainly rode well with it in the first Moto, finishing 4th. Now his buddy A-Mart does it. Yeah, keys to the Moto. We were talking about that. First of all, the weather changing throughout. We had rain days ago here.
Well, not only that, we've moved back east, 3-hour time change from the California rounds. We got humidity. You see the mechanics waving the pit boards, basically trying to fan the riders down. They're all geared up, sitting in this hot sun. Line selection. A lot of lines have been developing, and I think as the motor goes on, it's got to be very important on line selection and how to make a pass. And of course, Jeremy Martin needs to keep up the momentum. He's been showing everyone why he's the defending champion, but he's had some challenges. Will he come out on top today? It's time for the rest of these guys to step up.
Well, yeah, it's been Jeremy Martin here on the number 1 and the number 25 of Marvin Musquin. They've won all the races this year. 2 overall wins for Martin, 1 for Musquin. Out of the 6 motos that we've run, they've each won 3. So can anybody else get in there? You said, can Martin keep his momentum going? There's a lot of guys at his starting line that want to stop that from happening.
Yeah.
They don't want him to win out or get a streak together. And you mentioned Adam Cicerillo on the number 50. And last week, a huge shock. Christian Craig dropped onto this class like a bomb by the Geico Honda team. Had never raced a 250 before outdoors. And he went out and nearly put it on the podium. Was just edged by Cicerillo. First pro motocross podium for him on the number 50. So we'll see if he's able to build on that and get a little closer to the leader.
And another guy that steps it up, Zach Osborne on the podium last week. Can he repeat that? He's been showing some speed. He grew up not far from here.
That's right.
So he considers this his home track, maybe a local boy.
And 4th fastest in qualifying, Jordan Smith. He was also in that fight for the podium last week. So the Geico Honda rider stepping up. There's Nicole with the Fly Racing 30-second card. We'll turn that thing sideways, and then these guys are going to look down in the gate. And a little bit of an uphill start here. So you don't get to drive on this hill, you're going to be buried.
Absolutely.
Mechanics walking away now. It's time to go racing. The card is sideways. First 250 moto from Muddy Creek coming your way. Musquin down the inside, and he's got it. Number 25, your motorsport.com hole shot. Another good start by Jesse Nelson, and not a good one for Alex Martin with the Fram helmet camera down by himself in turn 1. Nelson on 28, little bobble. Adam Cicerillo taking away from him. Now in the second.
And in the background, we saw another big pile-up. So on these opening laps, 40 guys trying to share real estate, especially with a little moisture down. That's why it's crucial, too, to get good starts. We say it all the time, starts make your life so much easier. And this is exactly what Marvin needed and wanted. Cicerillo, also a great start. He just got around Jesse Nelson. We had 2 KTM riders around their first turn. On a different team, Troy Lee Designs KTM team. Marvin on the factory Red Bull team. But where, at the moment, is Jeremy Martin?
I think he's all right. I believe he was in 4th, and that's him right there. So we haven't really seen a showdown yet between Musquin and Martin. They haven't started together in the motos. This could potentially be the scenario. But Cicerillo and Nelson between them, they don't want to see that happen. They want to battle these guys, not let them go through.
See the 250 riders, they kind of soak that jump up, knowing that they can't quite get all the way over it, but land on top nicely and then accelerate off it. But look at this. Cicerillo in that section pulled a few bike lengths on Nelson and actually appeared to be really close to Marvin. So Marvin not quite running away with this. I think Cicerillo's got something to say about this, and he is going to be pushing.
Well, it's interesting. Musquin and Cicerillo are training partners during the week with Alden Baker. We saw that first 450 moto, Dungy and Anderson, who are also part of that program, ride together a lot. Same thing for these 2 that are running up front. Nelson actually came and stopped by there last summer, so he's ridden with those guys a lot also. And Martin back there in 4th. I know it's early, but he's not exactly eating them up either.
No, the first 4 just slightly spread out a little bit as Nelson gets a little closer to Cicerillo's rear wheel there. Marvin just edging it out a little bit. But like you said, Jason, plenty of racing to go. You see the guys sweeping the outside, trying to stay off what I call the shiny, like, you know, the darker dirt on the inside, especially at the beginning of the motos because they're slick. So this Eichsleit line starting to work.
It looks like Stafacci has moved up to 5th now. There he is. He's gotten around Bisceglia, so he's in 5th. That's the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki teammate of Cicerillo. So 2 of those riders in the top 5, with the Red Bull KTM leading. And Musquin now is starting to pull away a bit from Cicerillo, but to AC's credit, he's getting away from Nelson and Martin also.
Yep, he definitely is. And if you're Joey Savacci, this is actually a pretty good spot to be in. You're behind the points lead and the guy who's shown us he's got the pace. So get that tow rope out and try and latch on him if you're Joey Savacci, because I got a feeling if you can hang with him, he's going to pull you to the front as well.
You got to figure the defending champ's going to be there at some point. But some of the talk this week coming into the race, this was one of his worst tracks last season en route to the title. So we're going to see if it's a learning experience and if he's figured it out this year, or maybe this track is a little weak for him. It was very good for Musquin in the past. He's won here a couple of times. So right now the Frenchman getting away, and Savacci, he's hanging close to the champ.
This track is definitely more of a tighter track. You know, it's a nice sized track, but it's also confined in a relatively small area. J-Mart tends to like the bigger, open, rougher, you know, the Glen Helen type track where you really get these bikes up in the 4th and 5th gear. I don't even know if these guys might barely be hitting 4th gear on this track, because there's no really long, foul section. So 2nd and 3rd, definitely what these guys are using a lot of.
Savacci closing in a bit on Martin. This is the battle for 4th and 5th. Nelson 3rd, Cincerillo 2nd. Musquin has a 2-second lead. Now behind Savacci would be Bisceglia, Plessinger, Jace Owen. A good ride by the privateer starting 8th. Shane McElrath and Jackson Richardson, another privateer, in the top 10.
Yeah, you can see right now Jeremy Martin doesn't quite look like his normal dominant, really confident style throwing the bike around. So I don't think this is one of his favorite tracks. And we saw last year, Jason, he came out, kind of dominated the first few rounds, and then had this little stretch when we came here to Muddy Creek, Mount Morris, which is a similar track I would consider to this one. Weren't his strong points, but obviously we're being critical on him because a not great performance means he didn't rush out, take the lead, and dominate. But he's still sitting there. But obviously Savacci got my memo, and I think he put that tow rope on with Martin, and he's hanging, and he's doing a great job of sticking right there.
I love how you guys say that. It's much. There might not be anything on earth more easier said than done than just hitch a ride with the fastest guy in the class and just match everything he's doing. But Savacci is doing it right now, so good for him. By the way, the Moto scores last year for Martin, a 10th and a 6th was all he was able to muster. I think he had some bad luck with a first turn crash in one of those races, but still not the type of thing you'd expect for the rider who'd go on to win the title. We'll see if he can improve on that right now. But Musquin quickly moving away. He is 4 seconds up on Cincerillo right now. Nelson still solid in 3rd. There is Marvin. Now this is how you do it. Look how smooth he is downhill. And
Marvin's won here before, so he likes this track. He seems to do well, and I think part of it, his mechanic Frankie, that's a thumbs up. 57.3, that'll be his lap time. He's showing that the rider behind him, Cincerillo, was about a second off the pace. So that's the thumbs up. Your pace is great. Just keep doing your thing, because for Marvin right now, all you want to do is focus on nailing your lines, do your thing, and your pit board is basically giving you all the knowledge of what's happening around you, because he doesn't need to know much except what his pace is and what the guys chasing him paces, because that also helps you control the race from the front. We saw Dungey do it in the 450 class. Marvin's got this great opportunity now to run his lines, do his thing.
Let's show you the motosport.com whole shot replay. Show you how the number 25 was able to get the lead early.
Well, he just hugs around the inside, and you see in the background a few riders going down. One of them, a helmet cam rider, Alex Martin.
Tough break for him. He's had some bad luck as of late.
Oh, we might even be able to see exactly what happens. Remember last year, Josh Grant was the first one to run it, and he gave us a first turn. See what happens when 40 guys try to share some real estate? Somebody gets hit, and you can just see he gets clipped from the inside, takes that front wheel out. And that's a horrible feeling when you see the pack disappearing, because this makes for a long moto, lots of tear-offs, lots of roost. and at the end of the day, you're going to work your tail off to try and just get as many points as possible. But that's what championship racing is about. You've got to make the most out of every single situation.
37th place right now, 35th actually, Alex Martin, moving up just a little bit. And he was back in both motos last week after mechanical problems both times. He was 3rd in points at that point. Now he's back to 6th, trying to make up ground. Put the focus back in on this guy, though. Marvin Musquin had to take a few days off this week. Told me he did not start riding again until Thursday after that big crash a week ago in Colorado. Said he hurt his arm a little bit on the left side, was beat up in general. But he has come back with a vengeance. Now Alex Martin, boy, his camera's going to get a workout. He's got to pass a lot of riders being outside the top 30 after a first turn crash Here's that uphill triple. They don't jump it. He does. That's a way to make some moves.
Almost got a twofer there.
Yeah. Amart going to work, trying to get to the top 20. That's where you start scoring points. Whoa, look out. Off the track. Taking on the toughest projects with cutting-edge technology, Titan and his team fight for America, and they show the world what it takes to be American-built. Monday, 9 Eastern and Pacific on MAV TV. Marvin Musquin continuing to move away up front. Alex Martin, we had the live Fram helmet cam with him just as we were going to break. We saw that he got bumped off the track, and then it got even worse.
Well, basically dropping down this hill, he's on the outside. You can see there's a ride up the inside of him. Just, that's, hey, any rider would do the same thing, but Amart just straddles the edge of the track, lands on that soft stuff. You can see the bike swaps. All of a sudden, we get a close-up of the dirt. So, not the moto that he was looking for. Down the first turn, trying to make passes, riding pretty well, being aggressive, but maybe right there he should have, when he was on the outside, maybe should have just hit the brakes. The guy on the inside is always going to take your line away if he controls the corner.
And the guy that took him down, Jared Pesci. New kid on the block here, but apparently showing no intimidation with any of the veteran riders. So Pesci knocking Martin down. And we did even hear some choice words yelled under the helmet, by the way, from Martin as we were going to break. So here is Musquin. 8.8 second lead already, just 10 minutes into this one. It's still Cianciarulo in second, Nelson third. Still waiting for that big charge from Jeremy Martin, but so far it hasn't come.
Well, I'm watching Marvin, and he just looks really dialed in right now. He's hitting the corners, he's hitting his marks, hopping over the big bumps and the rough stuff. And that's where Marvin is really good. He's a very technical rider, and on these kind of tracks, you can't override. It's so easy to override a track like this. You charge hard, bury the bike in those outside off cameras, and you end up losing momentum coming out. He's just doing everything right at the moment.
Cianciarulo in second on the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. As we mentioned, got that first pro podium in motocross last week. He's still working his way back into shape after missing over a year of racing with shoulder injuries, so we expect him to get stronger every 7 days when we meet back up again. Nelson, a similar situation on the surface. He missed about 6 weeks of riding after hitting his head hard during the Supercross season. And he does admit that the fitness is not quite 100%, but it does get better each week. It better be good now, because Martin has closed back up. There's Martin on the number one in fourth, trying to get Nelson for third.
Jay Martin, he trains down at Ricky Carmichael's place in Florida. He's been riding in the hot, humid conditions. He's used to this. So on a day like today, you know he's going to hammer two 30-minute plus 2-lap motos the whole time. He won't fade. This kid's in great shape. So he won't hold back anything. And right now he's looking, hey, my competitor is leading this thing. I've got to minimize the damage. And by that, get around these two guys. Hey, first and a second, not a big deal. Allows him to go out when the second motor guaranteed would get the overall. Right now, he would need a little luck for a 4-1 to get the overall.
How about Nelson? He is bringing some heat to Cianciarulo right now. Like I said, these guys are pretty good buddies off the track. They did do some training and riding together last year, but they've got to fight each other because they are trying to run from Martin. Get the champ back there. It's like the Barracuda just waiting to strike at any moment. You just know, as you mentioned with Martin, with the fitness he has late in this race, it's only going to get more difficult to hold this guy off. But let's not completely count Cianciarulo and Nelson out of it. They are the other riders that are the top 4 in points. So top 4 in points are top 4 in this moto. It's still early in the year, and we've definitely seen times, especially in this 250 class, where a young rider figures things out around Redbud, that halfway mark, and goes on a tear. So these guys are not going to just yield to Martin just because he has the red plate. You never know. Every point could matter for them as well.
Absolutely. And I got to say, I'm impressed with Nelson and even Cianciarulo. I mean, Cianciarulo is a kid that we've expected to, in my opinion, it's only a matter of time. It's not if, it's when he wins. And but Nelson running a great pace because Martin's been behind these guys for a little while. It's not like they're holding him up or he's been looking to pass everywhere.
Not at all.
He hasn't been close enough to strike as of yet.
Well, it's a similar situation to that first 450 moto as Nelson's mechanic tells him to keep up the momentum. The first 450 moto, Roczen quickly caught up to Nicoletti, passed him. Quickly caught up to Anderson. We thought he's going by. Anderson held him all the way to the end. So is it the track today that's allowing it to happen? Anderson kind of alluded to the track not being quite as rough as the previous weeks. And is that leveling it out?
Exactly. With that said, it's creating, we got insides, we got outsides, and because the track's not super rough, a lot of the lines are working. So yes, it does kind of hurt maybe someone like Martin, who needs it rough, big, wide open. That's more his style. So this track requires a little bit of finesse, good line selection, cutting out the little mistakes. It is very easy to make mistakes around this track because you've got a lot of, like I said, up, down, left, right, cambered, off camber, jump this, land, you see there. That's very off camber, that turn. That's why those guys have to bank off that berm. But you can still pass in those sections. You square it up, get up the inside, come across them. So it is a great track for passing. So my point is, Nelson's not holding Martin up at all. This is just a good battle with guys running very similar speed because look at it. Cincerello probably edged away a few bike lengths, and Martin's dropped off a few bike lengths.
So we're already halfway through this one. Martin's got work to do, but he has time. 15 minutes before the 2-lap card comes out. That's enough time to call Geico and reduce your insurance rates by up to 15%. Man, I love these battles. A lap ago, Martin getting really hung up. A lap ago was Nelson all over Cincerillo. Then a half a lap ago was Martin all over Nelson. Now they've all spread back apart. That's what you get in motocross, man. Look at the little mistakes. Even from the best in the business, your champion, and things change so rapidly. And shout out to Savacci. He's not out of the picture yet either. Literally, he's in the shot because he's close enough to Martin. A few more mistakes, he'll be right there.
Another great ride, especially for a guy that hasn't been able to ride during the week, and that's tough. I've been in that position when you're just going from race to race. You're not getting fitter. Your race day is basically your fitness training. Here comes
Shaley on the Geico Honda.
Good ride for him. Matt's had a bit of an up and down season with a couple crashes. Plessinger behind him, Jeremy Martin's teammate on the Star Racing Yamaha Racing team.
Plessinger riding with a few little nagging injuries, broken toe at Glen Helen. It's a back problem as well, but I think to most of these guys, a toe and a back problem, that's just day to day.
Suck it up, man.
Yeah,
that's life of a motocross is suck it up. Why do you think at 30 years old, most of these guys have done racing, they can barely walk?
I will mention that when Plessinger told me this, he was smiling the whole time, not even bummed about it. Just something that you're going to have to deal with. He has been quietly effective as a rookie in Supercross, got a podium, nearly won a race, and darn strong with a bunch of top 10s in motocross so far. Wow, that's a unique line, all the way up along the side, finding some smooth real estate.
Hug that bank. Why not? It's something to bank off of because, like I was saying, that section is off camber. There's a lot of guys going to the outside and using the bank to kind of square up that corner and bounce off.
And Plessinger, who was raised as a woods racer, his dad, Scott Plessinger, a multi-time champ in the Grand National Cross Country Series. Those guys have to be creative to find the smooth lines he's using that right now. Up front, though, Muscat doing it better than anyone else. Fans are live right here at the fences of the Red Bull Tennessee National, but if they cannot make it to our next event, they can always watch right here, promotocross.com or on MAV TV. That's the official site of the championship. You'll get not only our live first moto coverage, but in addition, plenty of information as far as results, rider profiles, all the latest news. Also, download the NBC Sports Live Extra app on your phone or tablet. You can watch the races on there too. That is a miracle to me how well the app works. So take advantage. It's summertime. You want to go outside, you can still watch the races on your phone. What you would be watching is this guy putting on a clinic of how to ride a tight technical motocross track. Marvin Muscat out of France on the Red Bull KTM has really extended it. Perfect day for the KTM boys so far, with Dungey also winning that first moto in the 450s.
Marvin also good line selection, staying out a lot of the deep stuff. You see him squaring up some of these turns. That's just his style. He's a technical guy. He doesn't go and hammer the rough stuff. He hops, skips, jumps his way through things and then moves around the track. Avoid a bump here, set the bike in a rut there. Kind of cool to watch, especially on a day like this, because you watch him and I'm like, man, it just doesn't look like it's that difficult to go out and run a national, does it? But believe me, it is very tough. And you said it, Jason, it's a tight technical track. And Martin lost a little bit of ground, catching up just a little bit on Nelson. But it looks like Cincerillo's starting to stretch it out a little bit, and his lap times are showing.
Yeah, so this is still third and fourth, with Cincerillo just ahead in second. So just before the gate dropped in this moto, you and I were theorizing if someone could get in and try to break up this dominance by Musquin and Jeremy Martin. They might not stop Musquin from winning the moto, but they might break them up as far as the 1-2 finishes. Nelson's going to have to work for it, though. Still about 10 minutes to go in this race. 9.5 minutes before the 2-lap board comes out, and Martin is back, getting aggressive again.
Yeah, you can tell he looks aggressive. I think he's probably a little frustrated under the helmet with his riding. If I know Jeremy Martin, this to him is not one of his better motos. And it looked like he was trying different things, made a few mistakes, but I think now that he's got back on Nelson, he looks like he's got that kind of aggression, that attack mode coming back. Maybe he's feeling a little more comfortable, possibly change up a few lines.
Martin only has a 2-point lead on Musquin in the series standing, so if it ends like this, Musquin wins. He's going to take the points lead back. So yeah, you bet Martin knows he needs to get going. Now, even if he gets into second, he's going to lose that points lead by only 1 point, but he doesn't want to make it any worse than that. Man, but every time he puts on that charge, another mistake.
Yeah, he's trying not to follow, and sometimes those lines have just kind of hurt him a little bit. Now he's lost those few bike lengths, so it's going to probably take him, you know, almost another lap to get back to the rear wheel, and hopefully for him, he's hoping to mount a charge again.
And Cincerillo about 3 seconds ahead of this fight. So time running out. There's Pedro Sterling, the mechanic for Martin, with the pit board out. Not much you really need to tell him right now. He can see Nelson right in front of him as they hook back onto this start straight. And the hard left-hander. And this section always, the cameras never tell you just how steep these hills are, how difficult this section is. Nelson will tell you.
Yep.
He gets sideways and opens the door right up for Martin. But again, to credit him, that section is so much more difficult than it looks.
And so much more off camber once you drop off there. So what's happening is these guys, when they get on the gas and the way the bike's bouncing, it's forcing you off the track towards the outside. And Nelson made a little mistake and had to check up, almost went off the track. And that's all Jeremy Martin needed. Said, thank you for the invitation, I'll take that. So he finds himself in third. Cincerillo's not that far up ahead with some clear track, and it seems like he's got a little bit of a prep and a step going on right now. Martin carrying good corner speed again. Basically how we used to watching him ride.
Absolutely, I feel that same way. All of a sudden we just saw the typical cornering that we normally get from him.
It's been a tale of two motos for him. The first half of the moto, he looked, from his standards, very mediocre. And now, like I said, he looks like he's figured out his lines, and he knows. And he jumps the whole thing, goes for it, just clips it a little bit, but we haven't been seeing that done from these 250 riders. And look at this. Now that he's got that clear track running his lines, see it, he doesn't go to the outside again because he realized last lap, you lose time. So the best thing is stay close, follow the good lines, and then pick your spot, make your pass happen.
Did not take long for him to have Cincerillo in his sights, so the kid on the number 50 is going to have to really fight. 6 minutes and 2 laps to go. Try to hold off Jeremy Martin. Speaking of fighting, Alex Martin back here has climbed to the 27th place spot. Long way to go. Got to pass 7 riders before he even scores any points in this moto. Giving us some good action on the Fran helmet cam, though. Thanks for that. Get fired up for new episodes of Full Custom Garage. Going to be a wild ride, and Ian isn't stopping until it's full custom. Full Custom Garage, Friday, 7 Eastern and Pacific. Fans doing everything they can to watch this battle. They're on the fences when the riders go by. They got the binoculars out when they're on the other side of the track. Adam Cincerillo is second. He was under fire from Jeremy Martin, who's third and closing the gap quickly.
Well, something I think happened to Cincerillo. Comes into this turn here. There's some lappers, changes his line. Gets just, see that those ruts start forming what we call a hook because they get pushed, and then at the very end it kind of upsets the suspension by basically rebounding. You see that, just that could have been a lot worse, but able to get up. Obviously lost a lot of valuable time, so he has dropped 2 positions. Martin got around, and Jesse Nelson. So Cincerello, you know,
we've seen that quite a bit from him so far this year.
And I think part of it is, like you said, didn't come in 100%. But when you get a good start, you can't help yourself from pushing the limits, and sometimes those little things just tend to happen.
And his teammate Joey Savacci is now right there, so this is a battle for 4th. A rider down there, couldn't quite get the number.
I think it was a lapper.
4th and 5th is Savacci in the 37, and the 50 is Cincerillo. So now Cincerillo going to have to struggle just to stay in 4th, where he could have potentially finished 2nd. And by the way, Musquin and Martin are once again 1-2. So no matter how the race started or how it started to play out, they're going to be 1st and 2nd if they can hang on now.
And the other thing, you know, for Cincerillo, the thing that is really the bummer about crashing is not just the time you lose, but it throws you out of your rhythm. Sometimes you spend energy because you're stationary, so you don't have the air flowing over you. You're breathing heavy, you got to kickstart the bike, find neutral. You know, you could have a bent clutch lever or something like that. And so now you're just trying to get your rhythm back, and you're getting harassed by your teammates. So for Cincerillo, he has a look over.
He's not jumping that triple, and Savacci lands on the side of the track, gets back on. I think the bike maybe is a little twisted.
The one side of the handlebar looks twisted.
Yes.
On the throttle side. And same thing, that really throws it off as a rider, just trying to feel comfortable. Because when the bars get twisted, it's especially in these rutted sections, you lose your balance because the bars are, you know, wanting to pull you in one direction. Yeah, but still overall, once again, Cincerillo showing the pace, showing some progression, and it just shows you that, you know, once he's really comfortable and can eliminate some of these little mistakes he's made, he's a definite threat to go out and beat the guys that we keep talking about, finishing 1 and 2, which is moving.
Well, he is moving. Moving Marv.
Moving Marv and Jeremy Martin.
It's usually not the handlebars that get bent. You can explain this. There's so much stuff where the handlebars connect to the forks and the clamps.
The clamps
that's what gets twisted.
In the forks. Yeah, these handlebars nowadays are so strong. Like you said, they don't bend nearly as bad as they used to back in the day. But often what happens is, because those bars stick out when they do hit the ground, it actually will twist in the clamps and things like that. So when you got the bars, instead of them being straight out, you know, they're twisted to one side, but so you basically feel like you're turning, but you go in a straight line. So it's really tough.
Has rebounded though here. Look at this. He's going back after Savacci. I guess he's gotten used to the setup.
Exactly.
Got the special stagger in it, as they would say. That thing can turn left, that's for sure. The bar's bent that way, and here he comes back after it.
Yep, just basically there again, just getting used to basically riding with a twisted up front end. And sometimes with these guys, you get your rhythm back, you get used to it, it doesn't feel that different anymore.
Credit to Cincerillo. Remember last week he was battling Jordan Smith down the stretch, and it was actually a battle for the podium. Jordan Smith passed him, and he whipped it back up and got him back on the last lap. He's kind of done the same type of thing here, but he can't jump that big triple. That's going to hurt.
I wonder why. I wonder if maybe he's just trying to soak it up, stay low, get to the inside, and avoid that rut he doesn't like anymore.
Oh, maybe. get it aimed properly.
Yeah.
So Savacci, a little bit of relief as far as the pressure is concerned. Behind them, you have Plessinger and Bisceglia battling. Bisceglia 6th, Plessinger 7th, Aldridge 8th. Osborne got a bad start in this one. He is 9th. Shane McElrath 10th. Your leader, of course, Musquin, with Martin and Nelson still 2nd and 3rd. And Musquin's best lap in this one, a 156.3. Martin actually had a 156.8 at one point, so the top speed of Martin is pretty much on par, but just took him too long to get to that level. Hey, send it down to Georgia. We got a special guest star. Who you got?
Well, you know, special guest last year especially, we have Cooper Webb. Now, Coop, this is a bittersweet place to come to, and when you're on crutches and you're not racing, this was where you got your podium last year with an unbelievable race with Jeremy. But you're out here watching, that obviously sucks, but what's your thoughts on the racing, and how are you doing right now?
I'm doing good right now. You know, luckily I was able to come out and watch and cheer on my teammates. You know, like you said, unfortunately I got hurt and won't be racing today, and it's a bummer. Like you said, I won here last year, and this is a special one for me. So we're looking forward to come back in a few weeks. I had an ankle injury, and we could be back as early as Budds Creek, but realistically I think Millville will be my next race.
Awesome. Well, we hope you get better and look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
That's really a bummer for Webb, who came in with that West Region Championship in Monster Energy Supercross. And absolutely, we expected to be right there with Muscan and Jeremy Martin for this title. Was on the podium, first moto of the year, got hurt in the second one, and we haven't seen him on the track since. Here's Muscan, 19-second lead for the Frenchman. When I talked to him before, I'm like, what is it about this track that works for you? He's like, just the ruts and the jumps, the way they're set up, it's a little more technical. It works for his riding style. And he won the overall here, I believe, 2 years ago. Had to beat Ken Roxon, who was his teammate at the time, to do it. So that's impressive if he can do that. Man, this looks good right now.
Yeah, he's just making it look easy. But that's
wow,
Marvin.
Yeah,
wheel tap. Yeah, it's enjoyable to watch him ride, and you can tell he's just finding the smooth lines, not really pushing the issue at the moment. Pretty close to a 20-second lead. We'll see what it looks like when Martin comes across the line, but Muscan gets the 2-lap card, so the 30-minute time has expired. They get 2 more laps.
Are you even tired at the end of a moto like this when things are just rolling?
Usually not. These guys are in phenomenal shape, and this is one of those. That's why I said these are the motos these guys dream of, because it's almost like what they do in the week. You know, they mostly ride by yourself. There might be other people out there, but you're racing your pit board and trying to focus on your things. So this is just like another training day for Marvin. Not
going to handle the uphill triple this time. Doesn't need to with the 19-second lead over Martin. So Muscan, he's won 3 of the 6 motos so far this year, trying to make it 4 out of 7. You win half the motos in a season. You've got quite a thing going. So he's on pace for that and might even better it right now. Watch out, though. Traffic starting to build the lap riders. And again, this is one of the shorter racetracks. So that means same amount of riders in a smaller space. So lappers can be a little bit bigger issue here than usual, but when you have this kind of time to spare, you can be patient with those riders.
Yeah, it's the only time it gets a little stressful is if Martin was right behind him. You come up to lap because you know there's a sense of urgency. You'll often hear the guys rev the bike in midair when they're right behind someone as a pretty much saying, get out of my way, I'm coming through. And the flaggers are good about the blue flags. But like we were saying, with Marvin's big lead, he can be patient and just wait for the lap to get a move or an easy spot to get by.
I love his team jam on the gears here. I did downshift this time. Now here's that little bump that he was hopping over the last time.
Yellow wheel tap, so he catches the downside of basically the jump. Goes to the inside, so a lot of guys kept going wider and wider down there. Marvin hugging that inside, finding a smooth line, using half the energy, but still clicking off good lap times.
White flag just came out, so 1 to go for Muscan. Martin Nelson, Savacci, Cincerillo, that's your top 5. Bisceglia has run a solid moto in 6th. That'll tie him for the season's best, and a couple of those. Plessinger 7th, Aldridge, Osborne, McElrath, your top 10. Kyle Peters has been putting in some good rides on the Motosport GPI Honda. He's 11th. Oldenburg 12th. Hampshire, Smith, Hayden Melross, top 15. Jackson Richardson 16th. Luke Rensland, Dakota Alex Martin up to 19th. He's getting some points after those crashes early. Can't say he didn't earn those points. And Chase Owen, another privateer, is 20th, trying to hold off Nick Gaines for the final points-paying position.
And that's also a really good lesson for young, aspiring motocross kids at home. Don't ever, ever give up. Martin could have pulled in the pits first moto. He went down again. You know, for some people, it's like, you know what, I'm going to go back, take a shower, relax, and I'll come out next moto. But that's why you never give up, because he's going to get some points. And, yeah, maybe he doesn't win the championship, but that's a big deal for these guys to finish third in the series, you know.
Yeah, it could come down to that. Just a few points that he scores here could mean everything. So 3 rough motos in a row for Alex Martin. His brother solid in 2nd, but they're all going to be scratching their heads trying to figure out, what do we do with this Frenchman? They have an hour before the 2nd moto, and you'll see that tonight on NBCSN at 11 Eastern to see if he can pull this off. Muscan going for an overall, but he's got to deliver in the 2nd moto as well.
Well, if I'm one of his competitors, I want to watch in my truck some footage of Martin from this race, because I think he'll show people that you don't have to hammer everything really hard. It's just you've got to be finesse, you've got to have some technique and good line selection. Marvin's always been really good at finding good lines, and it shows with this 20-second lead.
Man, absolutely dominating here in the first moto at Muddy Creek. Marvin Musquin wins again. 4 moto wins out of 7 tries this year. Martin and Nelson look secure, second and third. So we go back to the battle for 4th. Savacci on the 37. Cincerillo on the 50, a pair of Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki riders. Savacci has been good in the first motos this year. Like we said, a couple of podiums in them. Question is, can he follow it up in moto number 2 this time? He is 1 turn away from holding on for 4th here in Moto 1. But for Cincerillo, continues to not get the results on paper. I think that his riding makes him capable of. He was battling for 2nd at one point. He's going to have to settle for 5th as Savacci gets the better of him after Cincerillo had the crash. And some other riders pretty darn tired here after this moto, but no trouble from Marvin Musquin. He doesn't look like he's sweating. Be right back. Muddy Creek Raceway has completed 2 first motos today. Ryan Dungey dominates the first 450 moto, and this man, Marvin Musquin, moved out on the field to win the first 250 moto. We'll show you what that looked like here with the Lucas Oil race recap. This is on board with Alex Martin, who has our Fram helmet cam. A bunch of riders get in front of him, and then someone hits him from behind, and he goes down. Not the way you want to start your day. And for good measure, he would have another crash trying to come through the pack. Adam Cincerillo was running 2nd behind Musquin. About halfway through this one, just hooks that rut, goes down hard, would get back up, but that would cost him. He'd finish 5th, losing 3 positions there. Jeremy Martin, Jesse Nelson, and Joey Savacci getting by. Musquin had the whole shot, was not headed. Solid performance, and he doesn't even look like he's sweating, considering he just raced a motorcycle for 35 minutes in the heat and the humidity. So let's send it to Georgia with a very happy, I'm sure, Frenchman.
Yes, he is indeed incredibly happy with that win, I'm sure. However, last weekend you had that crash. We thought you'd injured your wrist, and yet you come back here and you win again. So what happened to your wrist, and obviously is it feeling better?
Well, I bruised the bone on the wrist and maybe stretched the ligament a little bit, but actually it's working pretty good right now. Dr. G put a tape on my wrist, and it's actually working pretty good right now. I'm really happy. I want to thank him, Dr. G, and Mathilde, my wife. I mean, all week long we've been working on the wrist with ice and everything we could do to get better and to get the swelling down. So no more swelling, a little bit of pain, but obviously right now and with the race, you don't think about it. It was tough in practice, but right now it's good. And second moto last weekend was actually pretty good, and I got second. So I had a great start. Obviously, really happy about my jump off the gate, and thanks to Frankie for packing my gate really good. And looking for same second moto. I just want to be consistent. Track is going to get rough. We are after the 450 guys, but should be good. I'm happy.
Well, congratulations, Marvin, on first place. Good luck to the next moto.
Thanks, Georgia. Here are the results from that one. We mentioned the top 5. Bisceglia 6th. Again, that ties his season best. Aldridge, a late charge, able to get around Plessinger to steal 7th. Osborne, the local guy, 9th. And McElrath, also, who grew up riding on this track, finishes up in 10th on the Lucas Oil Troy Lee KTM. So that's your top 10 in this moto. RJ Hampshire finishes 11th of the Geico Honda. Kyle Peters, 19th. And as we mentioned, Alex Martin, 2 crashes early, fights back for 19th to score a couple of championship points. Let's send it back to Georgia.
Yes, we have Jeremy Martin next to me right now, second place in that moto. I thought he seemed like he was riding with a fire within him. However, you're not completely 100% happy with that result, are you?
Yeah, you know, I didn't feel like I was riding very good. Those guys got off to a great start. Marvin made some aggressive moves, and he was on a rocket ship and got away from me. And it was a little too late by the time I got into second. The track was really slick, and you had to be careful. And, you know, I was just trying to get in behind those guys, see if I could learn something. And I just didn't make the move happen fast enough on those guys, and Marvin got too far away. So we'll come back in Moto 2. We'll get that. And I'd just like to thank the man up above, Yamaha, Dunlop, Rockstar, Bell, Answer, 100% FMF, Mickey Thompson Tires, Garnet, Deegan 38, KYB, my whole family. They're at home watching right now, and you know, I just can't thank Pedro, Chad, and Ricky, and no show enough.
Well, good luck to next moto. Thanks, Jeremy.
Got a good group of people behind him, hoping to power him forward. And those folks at home can watch him here. We'll be racing our second moto tonight in the 250 class at 11 Eastern on NBCSN. But you want to tune in our second 450 moto coming up in just a few minutes live on NBC. First time this year we'll be on there. And High Point is next weekend on MAV TV and NBCSN. Let's send it back to Georgia.
Yes, Jesse Nelson, you have had some strong races this year. I see you improve every weekend. Obviously, that last few laps, Jeremy did take you, but did you just think, I'm just going to stay comfortable and get this third position here?
Yeah, pretty much. He's the previous champion and the points leader. And clearly, I mean, everybody's watching on TV. You can see that Marvin and Martin are quite a bit faster. Not just faster, they're strong all the way to the end. And I'm building each week, and I feel like at the end of the season or maybe midway towards the end, I'll be right up there with them.
Perfect. Best of luck on your next moto. Well done.
Well, just as quickly as Jeremy Martin grabbed the momentum, Marvin Musquin takes it back. By the way, we'll be racing at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca out in California in Optima's search for the ultimate street car. That's up in a minute, but let's wrap this show up, Grant. Musquin quickly taking momentum back. It's the way it's been between these guys this year.
Yeah, they like you said, we haven't seen a lot of head-to-head battles.
No.
It seems one guy gets a start and he wins it, the other guy's a little bit further back. But not one of Martin's stronger motos, but he showed at the end there a little bit of the J-Mart coming back. I think with a good start, if he has Marvin in his sights, I expect a great battle in Moto 2.
That's what we've been waiting for. And don't forget our 450 class, Ryan Dungey trying to take the overall. Switch over to NBC in just a minute here to watch the second Moto Live of that. So congrats out to Dungey and Musquin. Thanks to Grant Langston, Georgia Lindsay, and Jason Wygand here giving you the call. We will see you folks on NBC in just a few minutes for 450 Moto 2. Thanks for watching.